Hi, everybody. It's Pat Love from eXp Realty. I'm here today with Meredith Dawson from, I have to look at my notes, Thriving Life Collective. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, Pat. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, thank you for joining us and thank you for taking time out of your day to share about your business.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here to share it and to get the word out because as we were just, getting to know in our conversation, there's been quite a few shifts for everybody this year and for me as well with my business and the focus of my business. So I'm excited to talk about it here and get it out to the community so that they know what I'm able to offer them to see them, hear them, and support them. So.
Great. Well, let's hear more.
Okay, so yes, my name is Meredith, and a lot of people in the North Van community know me as Miss Mare because I am a former school district educator with the Strong Start program, and I did that for the last 8 years. And during that time, I was also developing my skills and my understanding as an emotional awareness, self-regulation educator. And I think that is key for all ages, all the way from birth right through to the end of life. And so my focus of my business with Thriving Life Collective is to make sure that the community and the challenges that we're coming up against in life are feeling seen, heard, and supported. And in particular, right now, I am focusing on supporting our teachers, those frontline workers in the schools, and also the support staff in the schools and the other staff who are supporting our young ones because I can't be in there to support them because of the different restrictions around keeping our kids safe in school. I am now focusing on working from the top down, so offering different coaching services, tapping with my advanced TFT practitionership, and different tools that we can bring into the teachers' lives so they can feel really supported.
Okay, so why don't we you mentioned the EFT. Why don't you share a bit about that? Because I read a book once called Tapping the Healer Within. So that was years ago.
Fabulous book. Yes. So a wellness journey began as a practitioner. It began, like you were saying, with doTERRA oils. And that was my first introduction beyond my yoga and my mindful movement in ways that I could support our whole bodies with our physical, emotional, and our mental health. And then this past year, I've actually spent the year becoming trained as an advanced EFT practitioner. And tapping is that beautiful toolkit, part of the toolkit where you actually tap on acupressure points as you're speaking through your feelings. And it's giving your body, your nervous system a chance to reset, to kind of gain some clarity so you can move forward with confidence and joy is my goal for you.
That's great. It's nice to hear about it. And no one had heard about it when I read that book. And it was like if you said it to somebody, they'd look at you like kind of, wow.
And I think even today, a lot of people think of it as a bit of a woo-hoo thing. But if you get an understanding of how our bodies do self-regulate, it is a physical thing with the nervous system, with our parasympathetic and our sympathetic nervous systems. And what you're actually doing when you're tapping on these spots is you're triggering your parasympathetic nervous system to kick in and to bring you back from a stress response to a calm and centered response. And I feel like that's what we all need, but especially our teachers right now when they're faced with so many challenges in the classroom, but also within the school system itself, and personally and professionally. And to be able to give them an outlet, to be able to come together in a safe, sacred space, to be able to have access to different tools, whether it be the oils, whether it be with tapping. I incorporate mindful movement, journaling, all different aspects that they can really easily, because that's key, that it's easy for them. It's not one more thing on their to-do list. It's something to be, and it's something to incorporate so they can really thrive through this whole challenge as it continues on.
Okay. So are you available to just teachers or are you offering your services to the general public?
My services are completely open to the general public. When I first started out developing my program, it was going to be focusing mainly on the children within the school system. And now that we are facing that aspect of not being able to be in the schools, that's why I decided to focus on the teachers so that they're getting that support because I can see the stress they're under. That's something I was able to gain in the 8 years that I was in the schools, was that perspective on especially particular times of the year, like right now with report card season and up to Christmas, but then on top of that, COVID, and knowing they need that extra support.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a single parent. I've been a single mama for most of my children's lives. And so I know what it's like as a parent to feel overwhelmed, to feel like you don't have that sense of feeling seen, heard, and supported. And I want my I want my community in general to feel that way. So if anybody needs a chance to just have a chat and see if one of the tools, or maybe many of the tools in the toolkits that we construct for you, would help you, then definitely.
Okay, so I'm assuming because of the pandemic, some of your services are provided in this manner that we're in
Everything
right
can
now.
be online. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I actually did the majority of my tapping training online. And one of my fellow practitioners was actually in Regina, and another one was just up the road. And our instructor had to be back east for quite a bit of the time. And so that's the beauty of this, arena, is that we have this online thing where we can create a really safe and sacred space. And I want people to know that even though we may not be sitting face to face, we can still form that connection and have that communication so that we can really move into a more compassionate way of looking at our challenges.
Hmm, hmm. So, do you have any advice, pandemic advice for other business owners that are struggling with adapting to how we have to provide service now?
I think the main thing is just not limiting yourself, not thinking, well, I only know this and I only have this audience and I can't work within that. I was actually encouraged by one of my fellow practitioners to look at switching up and just focusing on the teachers so we could have that pebble dropped at the top and then that beautiful ripple effect coming down
Hmm.
through the children, throughout the schools, and then to, of course, their families as well. And I think that's the thing, collaborate and have conversations with your fellow business people, because it's amazing what can come up in your system and what you can actually discover about the skill sets that you already hold and the gifts that you can share.
Yeah, and speaking of gifts, that's the gift that the pandemic has given us, if you want to look at it in a positive sense. None of us, I mean, I wouldn't say none of us, because as we met at a networking event, and I think it's just tremendously more important now than it ever was. And I think people are much more open to it now,
I
just
think
helping each other.
that's right. I think one of the probably the key lesson I see that has come out of it for communities, not just here in North Vancouver, but worldwide, is that sense of connection. And it's really an interesting dynamic how we looked at devices and the internet and online presence as something that was taking away from our connection. But now, because it's become so prevalent and so important as a tool, it's challenging us to do that, right? To hold space in that arena. And so I know if we can form that sense of connection and be in a really compassionate space for our community, because it is a time when we're feeling really challenged. We may be feeling judgmental of ourselves and of others, and
Mhm,
we don't like feeling that way as a humankind.
mhm.
So
No, we
yeah,
don't.
so it's definitely, I think, for as a business and also just in personal lives, to be really supportive of each other, to really remember to connect and to be willing to collaborate.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, so obtaining your services, can you tell me how we go about obtaining your services, where we can find you? You don't have to share your web address. I will tack that on at the end of the
Beautiful.
interview.
Well, I
But
do have a website, and I'm really excited because I launched that a month ago, and there's some beautiful services on there and information about different ways that we can work together. And I also have a newsletter that I love to send out. I do a mindful Monday moment, which I'll do after this interview, every Monday on my Thriving Life Collective group on Facebook, and that goes up on Instagram as well. And on Instagram, I'm Aspiring Thriver. And then I also, through my website, have my newsletter that goes out where I give you tips and tricks that you can use and just different accesses to even free groups. We're going to be doing a 3-day tapping session starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. And that's just going to be a 3-day experience to look at how we can kind of, as I was putting it, clear the crap of 2020 and move into 2021 with some clarity and confidence and joy.
sounds wonderful. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up now because we wanted
Wonderful.
to have a nice little, just a little snippet of getting to know you. I'd like to thank you again, once again. This is Meredith, and I've got to look at my notes again because it's not an easy thing to remember, from Thriving Life Collective. Thanks, Meredith.
Thank you so much, Pat. Wonderful being here.